This is The Scoop for Monday.
I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines. Over 30 years ago, Florida voters amended the state's constitution to limit legislators' term limits to 8 years. But WMNF's Chris Young reports at the Tampa Tiger Bay Club on Friday, political leaders favored overturning term limits.
Former state legislators Bob Henriquez and Tom Lee, current state senator Darrell Roussan, and lobbyist Ron Pierce spoke at the forum. All were in favor of abolishing current term limits, including Roussan, who served for the last 17 years in Tallahassee.
Big issues like transportation, like housing, don't lend themselves to an 8-year time frame. So when you come in, you've got to hit the ground running and try and get big policy stuff done in very short order.
Panelists did acknowledge term limits would be a hard sell for voters, who may believe that they would create career politicians. Panelists also said the most likely way for term limits to be dismantled would be through a citizen-led ballot initiative, something Ron DeSantis has made harder through a new law signed this year. Chris Young, WMNF News, Tampa.
After a disciplinary panel last month recommended she be removed from the bench, Hillsborough County Circuit Judge Nancy Jacobs will resign May 31st, according to documents released Friday at the Florida Supreme Court. Jacobs submitted her resignation to Governor Ron DeSantis after a lengthy contentious probe into issues such as her conduct during a 2022 election campaign. A hearing panel of the Florida Judicial Qualifications Commission on April 30th issued a recommendation that said it concluded, quote, removal is the only appropriate discipline warranted by the circumstances, unquote. The commission investigates judicial conduct and makes recommendations to the Supreme Court, which has ultimate disciplinary authority. The probe in part involved what the hearing panel described as, quote, a series of inappropriate and or disparaging remarks, unquote, made about Jacobs' 2022 election opponent, then Circuit Judge Jared Smith. Jacobs defeated Smith, who was then appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis to the 6th District Court of Appeal. Jacobs battled the allegations of improper conduct, including pointing to First Amendment rights. Attorney Marva Johnson has been selected by the Florida A&M University Board of Trustees as FAMU's next president. The vote was 8-4. Several of the trustees said the university needs to change in direction that would be attracting more performance-based funding from the state. Trustee Nicole Washington pointed to the metrics that would do that.
A set of metrics that state that students should graduate on time with minimal debt in areas and programs where they will earn a sustainable wage. And if you are able to do that, says the state of Florida, you will get additional funding, not your base funding, additional funding.
The trustees received hundreds of negative comments about Johnson's candidacy due to her job as group vice president of a major internet and cable company and her alliances with U.S. Senator Rick Scott and Governor Ron DeSantis. Cuts to federal funding for the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, or SNAP, were approved last week by the Agriculture Committee in the U.S. House. As Joe Burns reports, nearly 3 million Floridians rely on SNAP to put food on the table.
SNAP benefits have always been fully funded by the U.S. government. This bill would make the states pay 5 to 25% of the benefit based on their payment error rates. That could cost Florida $1.6 billion in 2028. Holly Bullard with the Florida Policy Institute, a progressive think tank, says state lawmakers facing budget shortfalls in this new recurring cost would feel pressure to cut people off or reduce benefits.
Who's going to feel the brunt of this? It's going to be rural communities who have a very high SNAP participation rate, and those farmers in those communities who support and engage in this program. And it's going to be an ever-increasing food insecurity in our state.
Republicans in Congress say the cuts to SNAP are part of President Trump's, quote, one big beautiful bill, and will restore integrity to the program. In Ocala, I'm Joe Burns.
Sunshine and clouds today with highs in the lower 90s. Some clouds tonight with overnight lows in the mid-70s. Sunny skies tomorrow with highs in the lower 90s. I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.